Here we go, Parsha Yitro. A lot of questions come up with this Parsha. No, Yitro. Who is this Yitro? Why is he coming now? That's one of the first questions that Rashi brings, like, why now? I want to start off with what is the very first Vishma Yitro Kohen Midian Choten Moshe. Right? He was the high priest of Midian, and he was the father-in-law, the Shviger. Shviger is the mother-in-law. The Shver is the father-in-law, right? Of Moshe. And then he says why he comes. He sees everything that Hashem did, Elohim, right, did to Moshe, Israel, how he took them out of Egypt. And then it says again, V'yikach Yitro. We already know who Yitro is now. Thank you very much. Choten Moshe. Okay, I know he's the father-in-law of Moshe. Either tell me now or tell me before, but why do you mention it two times? And now all of a sudden he's not the Kohen Midian. He's just the father-in-law of Moshe. And he takes Sipporah, the Eshet Moshe, and he goes, and he also takes the two sons, and he brings it. Now, there is a bit of a machloket. Was this before Matan Torah, or was it actually after Matan Torah when he actually came to the Ger? But let's just go according to chronological order right now as we see it. He's coming before Matan Torah, and he's coming to Litgayer. He's coming to become a Yid, right? And, okay, so our why now? Good question. Why is it he's known as the high priest, and then the father-in-law of Moshe, and then he's just the father-in-law of Moshe? And later on, actually, when he gives advice, he keeps also later on, we hear, V'yikach Yitro Choten Moshe. He takes and he's doing a mizbeach. He kind of leaves behind the Midian, the Kohen Midian. We don't, that one's sort of left behind. So I'd like to know why. And I'd like to know why he's such this chashuv person that we have this whole parsha named after him also. And then, of course, we have that where are we? Where is this all taking place? It's going to take place right before we're going to get the Torah. And how many times does it tell us in this parsha? Just the introduction to getting the Torah is so, I mean, imagine the scene of the fireworks and the lightning and the thunder and the shofarot. And with all that, though, there's this preface that 3 times the Torah tells us, and just even one pasuk, we know is in the 3rd month, which is Sivan, right? They go from going out of Egypt. What happens? They're Bamidbar Sinai. They're in the desert of Sinai, and then they go and they travel from this place called, and they go again, where? Bamidbar Sinai. So again, we have the Bamid, and V'yechunu Bamidbar, right? Again, Bamidbar. We always have to be looking at the Torah. It's so concise, it's so precise. Every single word matters. Why is Yitro in this description? Right before Matan Torah, we also have the idea about being a desert, right? And just take the word of Bamidbar, and we have the word of Dibor, which is to speak, right? Which is going to be very profound teaching that. Very simple, and all these are very simple ideas, but they're very profound, I think. So who is Yitro? Yitro is actually all of us, right? He's coming to add something. Yoter, ma yoter, like what is he coming to add to us? And I'm going to proceed with caution when I give this story, because I realize probably people who listen are going, always when someone listens to me, I realize they're not really hearing what I'm saying. Like everyone's going to hear what they want to hear, filtered through their ears. And I also am only talking through my mouth that I'm being filtered. But B'ezrat Hashem, the person's going to hear what they have to hear. And I also, the advice that Yitro gives his son-in-law, right? Who his son-in-law Moshe takes the advice is also very important for us. So what happened? I think like this. We have a body and we have a soul. We know this. And the body and the soul, it's a marriage. Okay, it's even brought down. What is the first marriage? There is not between you and your spouse. It's actually between your body and your soul, and that's what's b'sheret. Meaning, when I came into this world, it was destined. It wasn't based on my masim. Actually, it was destined that my neshama looked and it said, what is the way I can fulfill my mission? What's the destiny here that I can fulfill my mission to come into the world? Oh, it's with this body, we're at this time, in this place, in this family. And therefore, that's actually the first marriage, which is mina shamayim. You can't, you're ameveslim together, your body and your soul, right? So before coming down into the world, the neshama looks and it has so much clarity. And the goof actually has clarity in that moment before it's come down, even though we come down against our will, of what exactly are you here for and why. And then we're, in our mother's womb, and it says that we learned all the entire Torah, this beautiful Torah of what's the Torah we're learning? It's called the Torah of clarity. The Torah of clarity means I am giving over to you exactly why the things will happen in your life, and you will have an understanding and how it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When I live in that clarity, I don't want to go out of my mommy's womb. I'm being fed. I'm being nurtured. I'm learning all this Torah that's telling me purpose and meaning and focusing, right? It's such clarity. A person living in such clarity, the baby in that womb has such clarity. It's so nurturing. And then it's born and it forgets everything. And you live your whole life in the struggle of these voices. And one I want to suggest is Kon Midian, the high priest of Midian. And the other one is actually being the father-in-law of Moshe. And who is Moshe? And what does that mean to be the father-in-law of Moshe? And to pick yourself up when you've discovered everything in the world and you see all these things and you decide after looking at everything, this is actually the path I want to choose. And it's not going to even mean necessarily like an easy path, because look how much the Egyptians were coming after you. And what really picked up Yitro to come? The fact that Amalek came and tried to wage war on us for absolutely no reason. We weren't passing through their territory. We were on our way to Canaan. Amalek is not in Canaan. Why in the world is just the baseless hatred of anti-Semitism, of I hate you for no reason, then hate you to just want to create friction into this world. There's oneness, there's a God, and I just want to add confusion. And Yitro's like, wait a minute, I actually want to be part of the nation that everybody hates. Doesn't make sense. But there must have been some kind of clarity. But he comes in with these two. And I'm going to suggest that we have all these two voices. And we have to see what are we doing and why. I'm going to give you an example. 2 examples, actually. I think they're actually kind of powerful examples. Before I come to this year, I might be thinking, I wonder what I wore last week. I wonder if I can't even remember what I wore yesterday, but I wonder if I'm going to be recorded wearing the exact same thing I wore last week. Okay. And that's just like, so I didn't think about that. Actually, I thought about it on the way up the steps. I was like, I think I actually wore this yesterday or the day before last week, or I don't know, maybe I'm just curious. Like, it was just a curious, like, kind of thought, but it was a thought that was there. And you have these other thoughts where you're like, okay, wait a minute. Is like, do I look good here? You get dressed in the morning, you think about what am I going to put on? How is like this going to look? Do I, where do I, the color coordinations, does the tichel match the shirt? Does this? You go through your looking, like, how do I look? How am I looking to the world? Okay. Now I have to tell you, during COVID, it was a very test to me about actually how I felt about myself, because every single day I got dressed up as though I was going out there the same way, with the same amount of makeup and the same amount of clothing, and the same tichel and the same thing, because I realized I was dressing for myself and not for the world. So that was actually a refreshing, and it was actually quite beautiful that I was not in pajamas all day long, because it meant like no, I'm not getting dressed up for everybody. I'm getting dressed up for myself. But who's the most important person to get dressed up for? Is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We see this also in the halachot of tzniut. Where is it? The first halachot of to do the bathroom. No one's seeing you there, but the Rabbon Shalom is with you always. How are you getting dressed, right? So what happens? We have these voices, and we have this, like, we forget. And I would wonder if I spent as much time getting up in the morning, getting myself dressed and looking presentable, do I spend that same amount of time in the morning thinking about how am I going to talk to everybody this morning? How am I going to smile when I walk, when I'm being jumped upon in 50 million directions trying to make this one's breakfast and this one's and getting this one's dressed, and we can't find the tzitzit and we can't find the kippah. Am I working on myself the same way, at least spending the same amount of time as I would be spending the amount of time, not just physically getting myself dressed, right, but internally working on my inner character, making sure I show up the way that I want to, like, let's say, be showing up for? So this is a question. And these are the 2 voices, I think, of Midian, the Kohen, of this Kohen, the person who's out there looking, I'm searching about things. And the person who is, am I doing this because this is what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants? Now, this is what happened to me on Shabbos. I'm going to tell you about, and this is my clarity also. We had a neighbor, and I mentioned her before, I think probably. My neighbor was extremely handicapped, very, very severely handicapped girl. I don't know her. I didn't know her age ever. I don't know if she was like, she could have been a teenager for all I know, but she was very handicapped, so it's hard to tell. She looked younger. Gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful child with the most radiant smile, a beautiful face, and her body was so deformed. Now, she was extremely deformed. She couldn't walk, she couldn't sit up, she couldn't talk, she couldn't eat without, like, nothing was, everything was done for her. Didn't make anything but weird noises, and a smile. Now, I had such clarity during the war when we had to go to the bomb shelter with this beautiful neighbor, that she was pure neshama. She was inside of a goof, but I could see so clearly how there's a soul inside of a person. And I saw so clearly what simcha is, because her name was Ruti. Ruti loved babies. And there was other neighbors that when we were in the bomb shelter with the sirens, they would put the baby on top of Ruti, and Ruti's eyes would light up. Whenever also she saw my little Moshe when he was little, she would just, it was almost, she was squealing with simcha. And I thought, how is it possible that a person can be in that body and I feel such happiness? Is because simcha, bis simcha, is machshava. Where are your thoughts? Where are you? Are you connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu? Because that's the true simcha there is. And we're getting ready for Purim, by the way, Adar. Or are you not? Right? Are you spending the time on the outside as much on the inside? Like at least the same amount of time picking out your closet as you picking out what you're going to wear today? Are you spending the same amount of time thinking about what is going to be on the menu for this party, this thing, or my shlach manot because of what people are going to say and react to it? Am I spending that same amount of time thinking the kavana of going into what is this mitzvah about? They have to lecha kamocha, trying to get people closer. How am I going to present it? Is it going to be just dropping in the door, running, or am I going to do it with a smile and thank you? And is there a note? I told my children, Ad kan, I'll spend the money on the shlach manot. I want my money going to tzedakah. Meaning I want to do the mitzvah, but I don't want to get carried away in it, and because then I forget why I'm doing the mitzvah. And that's the voice. Yitro came, and it's like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for the world? Well, guess what? The world hates Am Yisrael. You're doing it for Hashem. You're not going to come after a melech who tries to make everything that there's safek in this world if you don't think that there really truly is a God. Not just the God that the God that's like, I'm doing this for you, Ribbon Shalom. But we have these conflicting voices. So there's my Ruti, and she niftera, she passed away. And I was so heartbroken, I could not go upstairs to the shiva. In my apartment building, I don't step foot in the shiva of, and it's a single mother. I did not step foot in the shiva. And I will tell you something. I did not step foot in the shiva because of myself. It wasn't because of Ruti's mommy. It wasn't because of Hashem. Because Hashem, what would be my halacha and the das Torah would be, you get upstairs, you go up there, and you sit, and you pay your condolences, and it's not about you, because what I'm saying about the external and the internal is also even the internal. Sometimes we get so caught up with how we're also feeling about the situation that we're forgetting what Hashem wants us to do. So I will tell you, I never went up to the shiva. I kept saying, making excuses. I can't, it's too hard for me. I kept saying, it's too hard for me. It's koevli, it's painful for me. I can't go up. So what happened? Fast forward, it's been like 2 or 3 months. I'm walking on the street, and I never have run into the mother. I always avoid her. I'm walking on the street, Shabbos Kodesh, and I'm already in such a difficult mood. I had such a difficult 2 weeks. My mind was just not being connected. I had such a difficult thing happening internally. And I see Ruti's mommy, and I go up to her, and I started to cry. And she says, Sur, lifkot b'Shabbat, you're not allowed to cry on Shabbos. And I told her, I'm so sorry that I never came up to you. I never, ever came up. I said it was so hard for me, but I apologized because I'm like, it's about you, not about me. So she told me, don't cry. I'm not allowed to cry on Shabbat. And she says to me, Ruti was one of the happiest persons she ever knew in her life. And she's happy in Gan Eden with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. She says, Zem ma shoseh li tov. She's like, I'm on my way to the kotel now. She's like, Asur lifkot b'Shabbat. She's concentrating on what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do. And it was I can't tell you when I actually finally confronted and I told her and I apologized, because you could say, well, why should you feel sorry for not doing something that's too hard for you? Well, who says it's too hard for you? Really? Who says it was too hard for me? Maybe I should have just I'm telling you, maybe I should have just not listened to the voice that's saying this is too hard for me, but I should have listened and asked myself, what's the voice that Hashem wants me to do? I'm just putting this out there. I know I'm not judging. I'm not even judging myself. I'm sort of examining it before I can judge myself. But I do know that the moment after I left Ruti's mommy, I felt so good inside. I knew I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I did not feel that way by not going up to the shiva. The whole entire time I've been sitting with this sensation of feeling not good about it. It wasn't comforting for me to say, well, it was too hard for me. I don't know. Maybe I am have high expectations, but I do think Hashem says, I want you to push yourself sometimes, to go outside of yourself and see which is the voice that you're really supposed to be listening to. And then what's interesting about it, and we live in such an age where we're pushing ourselves beyond, and I'm not trying to make anyone push themselves. And we're living in such an age where we're like, I can tell you that to say busy, it's not even that. It's an understatement of how much is going on and how much we're struggling and how many people are suffering and how much yisurim there are. I will tell you, however, Moshe is listening to his father-in-law. He takes his advice. Yitro says, you can't do this all alone. The people are standing there for hours and hours and hours, and it's too much for them, and it's too much for you. You're going to get tired and they're going to get tired. And you know what Moshe does? He says, I hear you. Moshe was so enough. I hear you. I will now, he says, this is how you do it. Make 1,000 and then the hundreds and the 50. Like, delegate. It's not on you. But you see, this is what Yitro didn't know. Is that really be'emet? Moshe Rabbeinu was a person who went up 40 days without sleeping and eating. So I'm actually going to propose something that's a little bit challenging that I've seen in my life. This is a challenge. When you say it's all on me and I have to do it, I'm telling you it's too much. I'm talking about emotionally, forget about physically. Believe me, there's nothing wrong with delegating. But are we delegating? We have to see why we're delegating. Because I will tell you something that I've also learned. I can do the same amount of work, but when I'm tapped into HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm doing your Ratzon. When I make myself anav, bitul, lagamre, that anyways, I'm not doing anything. All of a sudden, it's not so heavy for me to do the exact same amount of work that when I'm doing it and I'm like, I can't do this, it's too, I can't be alone. I don't want to be alone. Why should I be doing everything alone? Why is everything on me every bunch of them? I'm always like this. Why do I have to do everything alone? My whole life is one where I'm just all the time doing some things alone. I have to take charge of everything. I have to do everything. I'm responsible. Why? Well, guess what, sweetie pie? HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying, you're not alone. You're as alone with 300 people helping you as you are alone by yourself. It's really about your mindset. Which voice are you listening to? Are you listening to the voice that says, wait a minute, can I go inside myself? Be realistic with myself. Is this too much for me because I think it's on me and I'm not tapping into a Kadosh Baruch Hu enough? Or is it too much for me because really maybe this is not my tafkid and Hashem is not giving me the kalim that I need in order to do it? But you see the subtle difference between it's about me and it's about Hashem? And then all of a sudden a person goes 40 days without sleeping and eating. Why? Only because he absolutely nullified himself to himself. It was all about a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And when you tap yourself into and channel yourself into Hashem, you really have kochod that you will be so surprised about. Yesterday I went to a shiva of my Rebbitzon's father, Leva Shalom Rav Meltzer. Rebbitzon Spetner's father passed away, who niftal. And you go, you're going and you're talking about people, and this is like also my Rebbitzon and the clarity that I had with also our Rav. There are certain people you're just like, they are so clear in what they are doing that the Ribono Shel Olam, that Hashem gives them so much kohot. You're like, where did they get kohot from? How is a person at that age can learn that much and do this? And now I'm not talking about the kohot that you walk into an apartment. It's pashut. It's a simple apartment with the same furniture as 50 years ago. I'm not talking about gashmias that just, you're going to get everything that you want. No. I'm talking about, though, that a person who is able to be bitul, not to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm saying just to Hashem. Ratzon Hashem, the amount of koach that Hashem gives them, time, energy, mental capacity, the amount of love that they have for other people, I can't tap into that amount of love for other people unless I'm tapping into HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because on face value, it's not so easy to love everybody and to do so much for people, not all day and all night without any real physical satisfaction here. Compensation that you would see, I'm saying instantly. But the koach that I see, and you sit and you hear stories about people from other generations, but also we have people in this generation, I would for sure say my Rebbitzon's one of them, that the reason why they're able to do what they do, people think it's, I want to see instantly, that tell me, Elana, how do you, let me learn instantly in a Zoom and a YouTube how you can, do this. I want to, all these professions people are trying to find out. Let me just learn online. Let me do it the easy way. What's the quickest way I can accomplish this? Well, guess what? You're not going to get there. And you say, well, how is that? Because they worked really hard. Yes, they tapped into HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Maybe the person can get somewhere quickly if they're so in tune to that. But no one becomes a person at such a high level spiritually overnight. No one's able to be a keli that you can just calmly give to your children and you can smile overnight. I would never trust anyone actually teaching me anything unless I see that they actually have life wisdom and experience. It's hard. Now, sometimes that starts at a very young age. I'm not judging the age. But I'm just saying that things take time. It takes time to become Moshe Rabbeinu. Yitro was with Moshe for 60 years. And I said to my husband, why wasn't he influenced then? So until now he comes and he says, I'm going to be a Yid. What happened 60 years Moshe's with him? He wasn't doing drops. What happened to that? People think you could become Rabbi Akiva overnight. Rabbi Akiva was drop, and then a lot of years sitting there, of being what? Bitul, a complete and total bitul. It's not about me. If I tap into a Kadosh Baruch Hu, I'm tapping into infinite light. I'm tapping into infinite shefa. I'm tapping into infinite of energy that I feel like I don't have. I'm telling you, every time in my life where I'm emotionally and physically tired, I'm putting aside sleep for right now because you need it. I'm not saying you don't need it. I need to eat. I need to sleep. I know the difference. Yesterday I went to bed earlier. I said, Elana, enough. Because now you're not doing it for Hashem. You're doing it for other people. You're doing it for yourself. You go to sleep right now for Hashem. I went to sleep. I woke up this morning like a mensch, right? But I know that, and if when I do things for Hashem, if the very same act of going to sleep will give me such a more rejuvenated sleep than if I do it because I'm angry at everybody and just leave me alone. I'm going to sleep and I want to avoid the situation. It's a different life. It's one of connection or one of not. It's one of simcha now. What do you think we're getting ready for Purim for? If everybody's getting ready for Purim in order, again, and we're making it, society makes it in such a way, the costumes and the this and the fun, and we also, it's fun to have a theme. And I'm not saying not to, but remember why we're doing it. And I can repeat this a million times, and you could say, well, everyone does that. I know. Don't be like everybody. Be Yitro. He wasn't like the whole world heard about Kiryat Yam Suf. Yitro picked himself up and he said, I will be different. Don't be like everybody. Don't make the simcha so extravagant unless you're doing it for Kadosh Baruch Hu. If that's truth and honesty, and you're saying, I'm doing this in order to do a Kiddush Hashem, I'm doing this to inspire other people to get closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it's so clear to me and I know why I'm doing it, then do it. But mind you can also be looking very tsanua. And also that is so that everyone sees how tsanua I am. And then that's not newt. And that's also not kavod for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to really be evaluating which voice is talking to me. Why am I not going to this shiv? It's too hard for me. It's about me. Get up and go. I'm telling you, this is what I should have. I knew it in my heart. I had to do this, and I couldn't. Now, what if I had said, no, I can't, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not giving me the capacity, and because my children, it's going to take me that I won't be able to do my tafkid as a mother, or I don't know, a million reasons maybe that. No, but that's not why I wasn't going. I was not going because it was too hard for me. Because I felt my own. I didn't feel other. Does that make sense? And the moment I actually finally confronted myself and went up to the mother of Ruti, it was such beauty of doing Ratzon Hashem. It gave me so much koach. Give me koach. And this is what we need. We need koach. So here it comes. And we're taught a very important lesson, which is not that you should not delegate. Please make sure you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying to take it all upon yourself. I'm saying the opposite. Give it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Give it over to him. Give him that he's taking care of everything, and you will get from him all the koach and the energy and the simcha. Because that's what true simcha is. A person is inherently actually simcha. I thought it was the opposite around. We might be always tend to do towards negativity, but that's the voice of that came into the body when we were born, because that's really the Yitzhak, the negativity, right? The simcha is true. Simcha means I'm connected. Eifo machshavot sheli. The simcha, I'm connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu. When I have connection to Hashem, I'm happy. I have energy, I have koach. And I do Ratzon Hashem. That means if I can't do something because I don't have the kelim, that's Ratzon Hashem. The Rebbetzin said yesterday, I can't go to my she's not going to her grandchild's wedding because she's in Shiva. She says, I'm not going to be sad about that because it's Ratzon Hashem. She didn't say I'm not going to be sad about it because she was saying, I am sad. It's a loss. I'm not going to my grandchild's wedding. And it's Ratzon Hashem, so that's why I'm not going to be sad about it. Because it's a human nature. Of course you want to celebrate in your grandchild's wedding. Why Hashem? Why does it have to be this week that my father... I'm being very serious. She didn't say it like that. But I'm saying, why can't it be pushed off a week? Let me go to the simcha. No, Ratzon Hashem. That's it. That means you can't go to that simcha. So if you can't go to the simcha because Hashem is saying not to, then you're not supposed to go to samachat chatam lekala, right? It's not the kavanah there. It's not about us. I know it's so hard, but it's really, and you're mushang. I thought about, I want to try, get up in the morning, think about what I'm going to wear, but I also want to spend at least as much amount of time thinking about internally, how do I want to be today? What midah can I work on today? Can I be a little bit more, in my external, can I be a little bit also, like making myself match internally? Can I make myself look pretty inside as well? This is a very good question as we're getting ready for Simcha of Purim and Adav. And we get to Torah. Okay, then we're ready to get to Torah. When we have this clarity of who we are and why we're doing it, because even the Torah itself, the Ten Commandments can be misused, and everything can be misquoted and erroneously used l'shem myself and not l'shem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The basis of, and we know that the first commandment starts off with Aleph. And why? Because Aleph, the most more important above everything is Emunah. How do you believe and do the 10 commandments? How do you believe in all 613 commandments? How do you take upon yourself if you don't believe in a God? Right? Like it's a basis. This is the whole machloket. Is it actual? It's a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. Or is it a requirement? Is it a prerequisite in order to do the mitzvot? We need a basis here. Yitro came with emunah of understanding that the voice that I need to connect to and who I need to be listening to. Emunah is having a total awareness, a complete and total awareness that I'm with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It has to be the foundation of everything, and then I can get to Torah. And what's the Torah? And this is a beautiful teaching also that's brought down by Sifrei Kodesh. Rabbi Moshe Boyer brings about Matan Torah, tying into this, is that what is this idea that we said Naseh Benishma, which means so willingly, we're willing to do everything Hashem tells us. And there's a midrash about the mountain being on top of our head, saying if you don't do it, I'm going to throw it on you, it's not going to be good for you. So what's brought down? It's like this again. When you have clarity, and Hashem just split the sea for us, He did all the Eser Makot, He saved us from Amalek. I see you so clearly, it's really actually easy to do Ratzon Hashem, right? Exactly. In the same example, if Chas v'Chalila, a person sitting Shiva, Ratzon Hashem is they can't go to the wedding. It's actually quite clear. There's no, I'm not going because I don't have the right dress, or because someone insulted me, or they didn't give me an honor, and no. It's kind of clear. I have to sit Shiva. I can't go to a wedding, right? That's the Naseh v'Nishma. What happens? We forget. And then Torah feels like, Hashem, you're putting a mountain on me. It's too heavy for me. I can't deal with this. There's no way I can do the mitzvahs. It's too much amol. It feels like a mountain's being put over your head. The difference between one and the other is just you not remembering how much Hashem loves you. It's a emunah. It's not remembering that all the ways that Hashem took us. Why do we say every single day? How many times do we say per day? Yitziat Mitzrayim, Yitziat Mitzrayim. We have Pesach. We have all our chagim about Yitziat Mitzrayim. Every single day, Shema Yisrael, Yitziat Mitzrayim. Why? Remember, Hashem took you out. And if you're not remembering that He loves you, then your whole life, forget about mitzvot, your whole life's going to feel like a mountain over your head. It's a lonely and sad life. And I had a thing about this past Shabbos, also Friday, I decided to buy myself flowers. But it became like, I'm buying myself flowers. Maybe that's like a little bit of a resentment. I'm the one buying myself flowers. And I said, no, I actually am not buying myself flowers. I'm just buying Hashem flowers. Meaning this person in the family buys them, this person in the family buys them, one picks them up, one's not, one's running and going to pick up kids. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's not about who's doing what. I didn't buy wine. Someone else took care of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to even say, why is this not, I'm buying it for you. No, we're buying it for Kadosh Baruch Hu, we're buying it for Shabbos. We forget. We get so sensitive. I get so sensitive. And I'm like, why is it like this? We're forgetting. And I want to, one more thing about this, that I think, how is it that we can possibly then remember? How do we remember Emunah and Hashem loves us and why we're doing what we're doing? And again, am I making the salatim because I just love the salatim? It's for my pure oneg. And I'm having guests over, so I'll make more salatim. Or am I making the salatim for Kadosh Baruch Hu and Shabbat? Now, that doesn't negate that I have guests. And it doesn't negate that I want it to look a certain way. And it doesn't negate that I love the taste of it. Let me enjoy it. Hashem wants us to have oneg, physical oneg, pleasure. But we have to, what's the principal thing and what's the tofa? What's the ikar? What is the main thing and what's the side note? This is something we have to do every single day. Our cheshbon and nefesh it's not vis-a-vis other people. It's always within ourselves, right? Trying to take account. What's going on? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? So the Bamidbar, this is what I want to get to also. I think it says so many times that Hashem gave us dafka, the Torah in the Bamidbar, and now it's brought down, of course, that it's hefker, makom shel hefker, because Torah belongs to everybody. It's not ownership here or there. Also, it wasn't given in Har Moriah. It wasn't given in Yerushalayim before Beis Hamikdash. It wasn't given in a makom that you would say, well, only in Israel do you keep Torah, only in Jerusalem. Some people are like, no, I'm living in this place in the world, and how am I going to keep Torah right now? If I have to travel, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm going on a trip. How am I going to keep kashrut? Hashem says, feel in the Bamidbar, you can keep the Torah. I'm not giving it to dafka in a place where it's easy to keep the Torah. I'm giving you to a place where you feel like there's nothing there for you, and that's where Torah is also. So in the moments in your life where you're actually like, I'm not feeling connected, you will find your most connection. but how you have to make yourself bamidbar. You make yourself a desert. And what I mean by this, I was thinking there's a couple things about the desert. Number one, it seems very empty, right? We know this. A person has to be humble, humility. We know that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was delegated as our leader. It's joked about. Nowadays, if you were to say to someone, will you be the Gadol Ador, they would be, a person would run. Like, I want honors, I want this, I want that. I'm not talking about a true Gadol Ador. I'm saying, like, however Moshe Rabbeinu would argue for 7 days, he doesn't want it. Right? This true Gedolei Ador, everyone's running from, they don't want kavod. A person, you ask someone to do something, and if they're hesitant, not because of, it's not lack of self-esteem, it's about, I don't want these honors, thank you very much. Let's not have the whole world hear about me. That's the person you want to chase after, that they should be the Gedolei Ador, right? So, Moshe, of course, his anavut was teaching us that the way you acquire Torah is you make yourself empty as a big tool, and you will be able to expand in ways you can't even imagine. I think a Jewish woman, what she does in one day, it's beyond me. Every single woman that I know, what she does in 3 hours of her day is more than some people do in a whole year. How does she get this koach from all the time? How does she get this koach from? Someone coming, having a baby, where are they getting the koach from? It's all from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And understanding this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it, and I'm tapped into it. So, but what does it mean to be also a desert? So you do have to empty yourself out. For sure, there's this element of humility, but I also want to suggest you got to make yourself vulnerable. Because in Bamidbar, I realized there's no trees to protect you, there's no buildings, there's nothing to hang on to. It's just a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem wanted us to enter into a relationship with Him that was so intimate in Har Sinai. It was a wedding. There was a wedding canopy. There were flowers. It was at li. He says 3 times, li. It's like at mekudeshet li. I'm sugula li. I'm taking you as my nation to me. Li. The Pasukim talk about what's this li. That's right. Hashem's saying, I want you as mine. And you're telling me, you agreed to this, you want to be part with me. So in order to really have a relationship with somebody, I think you have to make yourself vulnerable. And of course, but with the boundaries, because there were gvulot. Ami still stands here, Aaron was there. You have to have boundaries. You cannot nullify that you don't exist. There's that I am not nullifying myself to Hashem to the point where I actually don't exist, because then there's no bechira. If you don't have any issue, there's no bechira also. Hashem wants us to choose a relationship with Him. He doesn't want it to just nullify ourselves so we don't even choose to have a relationship with Him. That's why we have all these voices. It's the constant struggle day and night until 120 when you die. If you don't have struggles, if you're not forgetting at sometimes why am I doing what I'm doing, and you say, but I should have such clarity. You should have such clarity only if you work on it. Day in and day and night. Make yourself empty yourself out. Go to a place where there's quiet, even if you are in the same places where you are right now. And you empty yourself out, and you make yourself vulnerable. Hashem, I'm not holding on to anything. I'm not hiding behind a building. I'm not hiding behind a tree. I'm going to look for the beauty which is in the desert. There's so much beauty there. And I'm going to listen. Shh, sheket. There was no birds. Tweet, tweet, tweet. There was no cows mooing. I'm going to listen to what you're telling me. What's my voice of clarity? All these indecisions, which should I do? What should I learn? What should I work? All this indecision. I have such anxiety and stress when I honestly think that it's all on me. I have my body, and it causes illness. It causes your immune system. And the moment I say, Ribbon Shalom, my clarity is, what job should I do that makes me feel close to you? That I'm being an Eved Hashem. Is this going to compromise? Am I going to work in a place of Kedusha? Or am I going to be compromised and work in a place where how am I going to keep the things that I want to be keeping in that area, around that people? What's compromising? The schools, where am I sending my kids to? What kind of this chug, this? You think it's just like, no, it'll be fine. That's not, where's your clarity? And the gray areas in our life is where we stumble and fall. We ate from Eitzadat, it became gray. We had the clarity of this, then we know where we are. Our whole journey in this world is to get back to clarity, back to Kadosh Baruch Hu, back to Gan Eden, which is clarity, back to ourselves. It's the one voice of just me as the baby, the selfish, Yetzirah, that then enters the voice that, there's actually a consciousness, there's a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it's not just about how you look on the outside, but also about the internal. And we have to get back to one voice, which is the voice of just Hashem. Just the voice of Hashem. And asking ourselves, why am I doing what I'm doing? How am I tapping into Simcha? I'm telling you, as we get closer to Adar and all the busyness, and it gets overwhelming. I don't know about you, but I'm like, I have in my head, if not in physical paper, I have the lists and the teacher's presence and the this and the that and people that I want to appreciate. And just like the holiday itself, I'm like, you want to go back to the basics? What's the 4 mitzvot you have to do? Daven every single day. A whole month I spend davening my zoche to do Megillah. not take it for granted. In the morning and the night. Am I zoche to give a shlach manot, like Moshe Shawi, which means I want to get close to you and have friendship towards you. Am I zoche to give tzedakah? Am I zoche to have a sudah? That's a sudah for Kadosh Baruch Hu, not a sudah for my stomach, but a sudah for Ribbon Shalom. Am I doing what you want me to be doing? Is this the only das I have, and every other dot there is? I have to just ad shelo dot, not to connect my happiness to anything else. Just the dot of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, just that awareness that we've done for 3 times a day. Zat Hashem, we should be zoche to really be like Yitro, who adds so much to us. He's able to take himself. The whole world is seeing things and they don't do anything. You be the person that says no. I want my clarity. I want Ribbon Shalom. I'm going to make myself a desert. I'm going to empty myself out in humility. And also in what everyone's thinking, why they're thinking it. I'm going to try to tap into what is my mission and purpose for me to be doing, for my closest to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I always think to myself, is this what my Rebbetzin would say? Like how I look? I do like to do that. It's not that I'm doing it for my Rebbetzin. It's that her clarity and her values are what I admire. I don't want to be my Rebbetzin. I want to be me. But I'm saying, and I really just want to be me. I should be zoche just to be my best self. Halavai. I don't want to be anybody else but myself. But I have to know who I am, and I also have to aspire to things that are like, is this what I would be doing? The person that I think is pure Torah kulo? Or am I doing it because other people are thinking this and doing this? We have to, halavai, we should spend as much time on the internal as we are on the outside. B'zat Hashem, we should be zoche.